Anonymous wants us to go back to the office. I work for a big government agency. In stand-up yesterday, our boss told us the VP had been approached by HR saying someone in his organization was abusing their WFH privileges to goof off. The VP organization is about 1 to 200 people in technology roles. This was based on an anonymous letter sent to HR accusing an unidentified person. As a result, our group's WFH status is imperiled, and we're getting extra weird restrictions. Like turning on camera during Zoom is now mandatory. I'll never know, but would anybody want to bet on whether this is a false flag attack? Send anonymous letter to HR saying the opposite. I agree the letter is likely fake. But even if it's not, the logic just doesn't make sense. Imagine if you had a coffee machine at work and most people drank 2 or 3 cups of coffee throughout the day, while one person was bringing a huge thermos and filling it up to take coffee home. Would they get rid of the coffee maker because of one person abusing it? Or would they just talk to that person and be like, hey, don't do that? Okay, actually they might take away the coffee maker. But it would be a really dumb way to solve the problem. There was no anonymous letter sent to HR. When you WFH, they have a ton of babysitting programs on the computer. Programs mine actually monitors keystrokes, and since everything is on the company servers, they have screen grabs of every single thing I do all day. Next time it's brought up, ask about the monitoring and see how they react to that. It's like a huge secret and they get flustered when you ask about it. It was made up. You work for the government, but there is a VP? Unless you are talking about Kamala. Most government jobs don't have VP job titles. This is my telework shirt. Turn on my camera? Okie dokie. If it wasn't made up, I'd hate hearing it, since you shouldn't penalize everyone for the screw-ups of a single or few people. Sounds like some middle manager who is freaking out because they're not going to need them anymore. Middle management is the worst emo. They don't even do anything but ask stupid questions and bother people. Start telling people you got an anonymous letter saying one of the managers is embezzling. If we worked an overnight shift from home, we'd still have to work the following day, but we could start late. Well, one director liked calling you around 10 a.m. to ensure you were awake and online. If you didn't answer his calling like 3 rings, you had to drive into the office. When COVID hit, this dude was 100% against working from home, but he was forced to accept it. Wouldn't you know, he was on conference calls bragging about how great it was because he could chill in his pool all day with a whiskey and cigar. He still works there. Promoted. In fact. Then I suggest they look at performance metrics and target underperformance. This is what I said in our union meeting when similar nebulous accusations of lazy, absentee work from home employees were brought up as a reason WFH needs to end. This is a supervision failure, not a policy failure. We already have processes and systems in place meant to deal with underperforming and absentee employees. Leadership needs to use those policies to address staff that are not meeting WFH expectations. As the majority of us are responsible and conscientious employees, we expect you to direct consequences where they are needed, rather than engage in group punishment and policing. Who are the employees being accused of time theft, and what are their supervisors doing to address these issues? If the supervisors are not taking action, why aren't they being held accountable for their failure in leadership? Anytime someone brings up this issue, I immediately pivot to question what are the supervisors doing about the problem. It's a setup. Sometimes management will make fictional complaints to change rules. My partner also works for a big government agency. Any changes to WFH have to be approved by the union. Their agency has asked them to start coming in 4 days a pay period. 2 days a week. Up from the current 1 day a week. The agency requested union approval for it 4 months ago. And the union has not approved it. Even when, if they do, they are required to give employees 3 months' notice before changing WFH requirements. It seems to take a really long time to get any WFH changes approved. I don't think you are in danger of losing WFH status. At least not for quite some time. Having said that, if your agency isn't part of the union and doesn't have to get union approval for changes, then I have no idea. The amount of people who create scenarios in their heads based on absolutely no facts whatsoever is astounding to me. A letter from an unidentified person about an unidentified person will be driving their personnel decisions? First-class organization. I'd want to know exactly what they meant by goofing off. Every experience I've had with HR, they had precise details. And it was never based on some anonymous letter. If they're going to make something up, I'd press for something better than goofing off. Edit. How are they sure it's not a disgruntled former employee? Bombard HR with anonymous letters about real grievances since it seems to be the way to get things sorted. False flag. HR made up the story as cover for the company to demand all come in. Collective punishment is so cool they had a convention in Geneva about it.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.